Hey folks, Father Sympathy from CGVirus here. Today we're going to see how to work with Blender UV bus from Cycle to Natron using STMap. So STMap is basically STMap is basically used for utilizing the UV bus, and we can distort or transform our texture image into the rendered plates. So it's a very useful useful technique in compositing world. So we're going to talk about it a little bit, and basically this STMap or UV map is not limited to Natron. It can be used in any kind of production grade compositor, like in Blender. If we go here in Blender, you will see in the compositing environment there is a map UV node. It can be used as well. In Vinci Resolve, that is the Fusion, there is also a texture. If I go to texture, okay, so this is a texture TXR. We can use this one for this exact thing. You can see it here, okay, and we can also in Nuke or Natron we can use STMap for this exact effect. Okay, so this is a very versatile tool. And with STMap, we can create lots of good stuff, lots of crazy stuff with this thing. So knowing this, I think, will help everyone in compositing career. So let's get started and let's see. All right, so we are in Blender, and I have gone through motion tracking here. It's a camera track, and here is the result. You can see it here. Okay. So it has two plates, and yeah, that's the thing. So in layout, let me show you what we did here. So this is basically a simple plane. If I go to the edit mode, you can see that there is an UV map, okay, with it, UV map, this thing. So what we can do is basically we can go to UV and we can export it as a UV layout for using it later. Okay. I have already done these things, so I'm just going here. You can see this one also has a UV map. Okay, so we can utilize these UV maps in Compositor. All right, so then what we did is basically we went to Cycle, and other things are pretty much samples is 10. I have unchecked the noise threshold, and everything is fine. And in here, in the map section here, what we are doing is basically we are checking combined, and we're checking the UV pass. Okay, so this is the UV pass. You know, to check it for EXR, and then we went to here, and we used half float with RGBA and OpenEXR multilayer. Then we rendered it. Okay, rendered the full frames and everything. So that was the Blender part, and then we are going to use Natron for it, and as previously said that you can also use in compositing UV map here for Blender as well. Okay, map UV node. You can do the exact thing with map UV node as well, no problem. Okay, so now let's go to Natron and let's start working. Before going further, if I just select this and go to UV and export an UV layout, it will export a UV layout for us. So it will be a PNG. You can size it like 2K, something like that, and then you can just export the UV layout. So the result will be something like this, a black PNG file which has something like this. So what we did here is basically we created an Illustrator file here. Let me show you. I mean Illustrator, not Illustrator, an SVG file. Let me show you here. Inkscape. Let me show you. I just going through a demo right now. So yeah. So this was the font and everything. So we did it here, and then we created an object, and we created these outlines and everything. And then what we did is basically selected all, went to path, object to path, stroke to path. Okay, these two, and now it is a simple path. So then what we did is basically we went to Krita for this texturing purpose, and what we did here is basically our exported UV layout what we what we had. Let me show you here. Okay, let me show you in this section. So I am just importing our UV layout here. Okay, you can see this is the UV layout we have. Okay, and what we did is basically just select this, Control C, and Krita has a flexibility for vector layers, so Control V to paste the vector layer. Okay, and then we just UV mapped it like this. Okay, and then we just turn off this, and this will become our texture, so we can save it as a PNG file or something like that. Okay, we have already did it, so it's a PNG file. All right, so let's close it and close it. So after doing the PNG file, what we have here is basically this neon PNG file, simple neon PNG file. So we're going to work with it right now. So let's see. Okay, so now we are in Natron, so let's start working with it. So this is the image we have. Okay, that's cool. And now we are going for our assets. So we have a neon PNG, so I'm just going to give it here. So you can see this is the neon PNG file here. Okay, no problem. So another thing we need is basically our render layer. So we have an EXR render layer plate here. So if I see it here, you can see this thing. Okay, so this is the foreground compound RGB here. So if I just create a merge, and let's go for B, and let's go for A, and let's see what is happening here. So this is the EXR file we have. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is basically we're going to create a shuffle node here. So let's create a shuffle, simple shuffle, and connect it to here. Let me go for Kimon. Yep. All right, there we go. Okay, so what I'm doing is basically shuffle, press Control and connect it here. So this is connected to A. So let's go to A, and here you will find that it has some passes. So if I go here, you can see these are the passes. So we need these UV passes here. We also did some cryptomat for checking, but it's not needed here. So let's go to passes, and we're going for R to A foreground UV U. This should be the U. So R will be U, G will be V, B will be 0. There will be nothing, and A will be alpha, UVA. Okay, so now we have the UV pass. Okay, now everything is simple, actually very simple. So let's go for an STMap, and this has UV and this has source. So source will be the texture we want to put it here, and UV is the shuffle node here. Okay, so you can see that it has U as color R, V as color G, alpha channel is A. Okay, UR VG. Okay, so this is the thing, UR VG, and alpha is A. Okay, so everything is done. So let's connect it here, and you're seeing your texture here. Okay, if I just create a grid node here, basically let me see. Okay, so here is our grid. Okay, you can see this is the texture. If I now go to T for a transform tool, I can even transform it. Let me show you. Scale down, scale up. Okay, we can transform it, transform back, and everything. How cool is it? All right, so now there is a problem you can see here. So what is happening here is basically we need to pre-mult this thing here. So I'm just going for a pre-mult here and just pack it here in here. Okay, so that's how I think we did it. Yeah, okay, so these are the basic things here. Okay, we did it like that, and then we create an FST glowy. So the parameter is here, so I'm just going to create an FST glowy. FST glowy has come from the community plugin, so if you want to work on it, you can do it like that. So let's go for here, and it will create an glow effect for you as well. So let's go to transform, and let's turn it off a little bit, so it's still 1. Here we go. So that's how we did it. Okay, now there are some fun we can do. What we did here is basically we created some animation here. So let me go to 300 and let me show you what we did here. So 300, there you go, and it was 650, so let's go to 650. I'm just demoing it, so I know. So here what we did is basically we went to STMap. You can see that there is UV offset, UV scale and everything. So if we just offset it a little bit, you can do it like that, okay, and you can use the mirror or repeat, so it will repeat itself. So you can do lots of fun stuff like this, I know. So you can use your texture to distort it. You can use your any kind of texture and you can distort it, and you can do lots of fun stuff with it. So there we go. So like that, and we can use U to create some cool animation. I'm changing the UV here, okay, U, and this is the V, this is the vertical one, so it will be like this. So why it is useful? It is useful because we can render our basic textures and everything, and we can use this STMap to create texture generation. We can directly change our textures and everything. It is also useful for camera projection, which we will see next, and it is actually useful to create UV paths and manipulate it. You can also use it for reflection, fake reflection. You can also use it for refraction. You can also use it for UV distortion. We can also use it for texture deformation. So lots of applications is there for this STMap only. So it is very much useful. It's a very useful node and technique. So anyway, so after doing several animations and everything, if I go to the show in carburetor, okay, so this is the thing here. We have some UV scale and everything, so then it will look like this. We saw it in the preview, okay. And also we did some transformation scaling as well, transformation scale stuff. So let's go here, scale. So it has scale up, scale down animation and everything. So that's how we have mixed it a little bit. So yeah, so that's it. And this was the preview here. I have pre-recorded it, so there we go. All right, there we go. All right, now we're going to talk about UV camera projection. So let's see. Okay, so we are in Blender again with another shot. So what we need to do here is basically, if I go here, it's a camera projection technique. So we need to remove some of these scars you are seeing here, okay. We need to remove it. So what we did is basically we just camera tracked it and everything is good to go. So let's go to layout now and let's create a mesh plane. So probably something like this, okay. And now in this mesh plane, what we can do is basically we need to go for a reference frame. So suppose 200 is good enough here, okay. So now let's create a new material here, and I'm going for an image texture, and I'm going to open our image texture here. So let me see. Yeah, this is the sunrise 200. So just copy it here, okay. So now you can see the UV is not working and UV is not well enough. So let's go to here, Ctrl Shift to create a emission shader here and everything, okay, no problem. So what we can do is basically you can see the camera, and this camera has a constraint, okay, camera solver constraint. So what we can do in 200 frame, let's go to 200 frame. So 200 frame is our reference. So what we can do is basically Shift D to copy another camera here, and now we're going to apply it here. So now it is fixed, okay. So now let's go here and let's go to the modifier, and here we're going to create an UV project. UV map object should be camera 001. So now it is kind of matching. So let's create Ctrl 2 and let's top it up here and go to simple and let's give it 6. Okay, now it is matched. Let me see. Well, we need aspect ratio, so this is a 1920 by 1080, so go to 1920 divided by 1080 and it will be something like 1.778. okay, now it is matched. Okay, so that's how you can create your cam projection. There is other ways, like if I go to 200 and here tab, we can create an U and we can create a project from view and it will do the job as well, no problem. So yeah, all right, anyway, I'm just demoing the STMap part here. Basically for this kind of op I would recommend to do it in Blender itself, because Blender is very much powerful in these things. So use Blender, but knowing the alternative will give you an edge. That's all. So then what we did is basically we did the same thing we did for the previous tutorial. So we went to cycle, we go here, we check the UV pass and combine pass, and we just rendered it as float full or float half, whatever you want to do, and you just render it, and that's all. So let's see the Natron part now. Okay, so we are in the Natron, and this was the base plate here. So what we did here is basically we imported our exe file here. Okay, you cannot see it here because we have some here. Okay, so this is the exe file. Okay, there we go. So then we go for a shuffle, and we created the UVA projection here, and then we created an STMap. Okay, there we go, and we then did a merge, and this was the thing. So the source, let me show you the clean bit. So what we did in here in the clean bit, what we did is basically we went to Krita and we just cloned it up. So if I just show you just a demo sample, let me see. Okay, so we're in Natron, and this is the 200 number plate, and we need to clean it up. So how can we do it? Is basically pretty simple. Go to Krita and go for a clone tool. There will be a clone tool. I have two for some reason. So anyway, so here we go, and we can just clone it up a little bit. We can use Natron's Roto Paint tool, famous Roto Paint tool here. Why famous? Because this Roto Paint tool is not actually very much effective, and I don't want to give you something, I don't want to recommend you something which doesn't work properly. So Roto Paint doesn't work properly, unfortunately, so don't use it. I don't recommend it. Use like this, and because VFX is unfortunately a very tempered job. So I don't want to give you something which doesn't work properly, and it should not work like that. So the Roto Paint in Natron unfortunately doesn't work very well. So use photo editing software like Krita or GIMP or whatever. Anyway, let's skip it. Okay, so after saving that file, what we did is basically this is the clean plate. So we have the clean plate. So then what we did, I'm not sure why we use shuffle here. I'm not sure. Let me disable it. It doesn't work. We have a margin node. Oh yeah, we did the shuffle because we needed an alpha. So yeah, that's why we did the shuffle, because it has alpha now. Without this shuffle, it should actually we change it to RGBA. Okay, we don't need the shuffle anymore. Anyway, so it was an RGBA. So yeah, we have this. And what we did is basically we just created a corner pin with Natron logo here. Okay, we just did a Natron logo corner pin for some reason, and then what we did is basically we roto only the part we needed for cleanup. Okay, so this was the cleanup part here. Okay, and then we created a pre-melt, and that was it. Okay, it's not currently animated because we have not sourced it with STMap. So let's source it with STMap here. Now if I go to the pre-melt here, you can see that this thing is actually animated. Okay, also the roto is also animated. Here we go. The alpha, you can see the alpha is animated here. Pretty cool. So then we just merge it over, and here it is. Okay, so let's see full demo here. Okay, so now you can see the STMap camera projection and everything. So this is the this is the thing. This is why we can use STMap for many things. You can see that we have stitched Natron logo here as well. So these things are crazy. So you can use it like that as well. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. I'm Father Sampati from Virus, and we're going to send us time. Bye bye.